Alrighty, and hello and welcome to the Problem Solve Politics live stream tonight, guys. Oh, 1 second. Yeah, good. I had to get the speakers off. I could hear them in the background. Anyways, so, first of all, hope you guys are all having a great evening right now. Let me just check and make sure. Cool. All my stuff is on and running. And that's off. Alright, cool. So, we're doing good. Anyways, if you guys see from the title, we're going to get in talking about today something that's pretty interesting, I think. We did start a little bit earlier today, we did. Or I did, I guess. Normally, we would start a few minutes later just because me and Carden would be getting ready and we'd have twice as many lights and just, things to move around in the studio. But he's still on vacation, so he'll be coming back, I think, just in time for me to be gone at the beginning of next week. So we're going to be like 2 ships passing in the night, I believe, for the next few weeks. Anyways. Actually, I don't know if Carden will be back on Friday or not. I really don't. I don't think so. I think he's on vacation. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully he gets some good time off. So, let's get into some of the news, guys. Anyway, today, the NIH and a bunch of weird government services finally decided to merge a bunch of these coronavirus vaccine tests together and then have an official one. So we'll go through and talk about what this means and kind of some of the implications here. So as I said, nice. So here's the key facts. The federal agency launched the website COVID-19 Prevention Network on Wednesday. We'll go through that in a little bit as well. Merging 4 existing clinical trial networks and setting up an operation across over 100 different sites in the U.S. and internationally. Very cool. Interested individuals can fill out a survey on the site, which includes personal questions like where you live, your job, your past and present health, and contact information so we can speak with you. And we might go through that. I'll see how much information they require and how much we can kind of go through. Community engagement, particularly with the communities most vulnerable to COVID-19 severe outcomes, will be critical to the success of the research endeavor. NIH Director Dr. Francis Collins said in a statement. Additionally, participants are expected to visit research sites at least 10 times over the course of 1 or 2 years, making sure to monitor any symptoms that occur. Which is interesting. The first phase 3 trial planned this summer will be for the vaccine co-developed by Moderna, with 4 other trials expected to start up in the next few months. HHS Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar said the goal is to be able to deliver a safe, effective vaccine by January 2021. Whew. That was a lot. Couple key things I want to get into from this stuff. Sorry if that was worse than me just explaining it a little bit more slowly. But I wanted to run through all the key facts because there has been stuff going on. I think as they mentioned above, there was supposed to be a trial that was going to be starting, I believe, at the end of last month that got pushed back a little bit as well. So there is a few things going on. Also, what kind of necessitated this was the idea that there was so many different vaccines going on. Today, what it seems we have seen is that the NIH or the HHS, one of them, it's all probably the same stuff. Anyways, they decided to pull multiple vaccine trials together so to get more volunteers and just centralize the information. Couple interesting things. One, they're hoping to deliver a safe and effective vaccine by January 2021. If they actually make that deadline, then it would be nice, but I have to imagine it's like you're getting your vaccine 5 months early if you sign up for the trial and it works. But at the same time, hopefully people will be volunteering not to get the vaccine first, but volunteering to, help them create a vaccine. Because not everyone gets the vaccine, obviously, but not everyone will even be tested for the vaccine. They mentioned they'll be testing for other things as well. But also check this out. So, Mr. Fauci himself, the man, said that he would settle for a vaccine rate with roughly 70 to 75% effectiveness. Now, he says the country still would be unlikely to reach herd immunity because of uninoculated carriers, yada, yada. But interesting, 70 to 75% effectiveness. I have to be honest, I never actually thought. I always assumed a vaccine would probably be pretty dang effective, maybe closer to 100. Now, I get that, they probably do try to get there, and they obviously start somewhere. But interesting, you're rolling the dice. You're not even getting 1 in 4 odds. Or I guess you are getting 1 in 4 odds. But, that's, at worst, that it won't work. 70% effectiveness, right? It's a 30% chance it doesn't work. I don't know how I feel about that. And that's for people who have the vaccine they're hoping to have out in January 2021. Now, one other thing. I'll admit, you can call me a coward or whatever, say whatever you want. When I'm reading NIH.gov, when I'm reading government websites like this, They mentioned that the NIH launches clinical trials network to test COVID-19 vaccines and other prevention tools. The National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, part of the National Institutes of Health, has established a new clinical trial network that aims to enroll thousands of volunteers in large-scale clinical trials testing a variety of investigational vaccines and monoclonal antibodies intended to protect people from COVID-19. Investigational vaccines. I'm not one of those people who's like, I'm not taking the government vaccine. Even though I see the argument of not taking chemicals the government tell you to put in your body. However, I'm not. You can count me out for the investigational ones. You can count me out for those. Now, what is an investigational vaccine? It's a real thing. Like everything in government literature, they actually have to explain what it is. So they have a little table of contents here. Or not table of contents. Whatever. A vocab sheet if you're in elementary school. But investigational vaccine is a vaccine that's been approved by the Food and Drug Administration for use in clinical trials on humans. However, investigational vaccines are still in testing and evaluation phase. They're not licensed for use in general public. So I'm kind of in jest a little bit there. Of course, this is something that has been approved by the FDA on some level, just for clinical trials, not for anything greater than that. It means you're more than likely probably not going to have your limbs melt off, right, if you inject this, but still is something they are investigating and working with. The larger thing I would imagine is that it would just probably do nothing. But even then, you're helping them find out what doesn't work, I guess. As far as the numbers they are expecting for this, I believe I've seen back and forth, but roughly 30,000, I think, is what I found over here in a couple of different sources. Here we go. So according to CNN, it's unclear exactly how many volunteers will be needed for the trials. Within a June interview, NIH Director Francis Collins told CNN each trial would have around 30,000, but a press release Wednesday from Fred Hutchinson, the coordinating center, said there will be 10,000 to 30,000 volunteers per trial. I don't know how that makes it unclear. It seems like around 30,000 is definitely the number that both of those would suggest. I mean, 27,000? It's around 30, between 10 and 30. I don't know. No offense, CNN. Being a little bit petty there, but still just weird. I remember when I read that paragraph the first time. I'm like, unclear. That sounds about right. Anyways, tens of thousands of volunteers will need to step up for the studies, and then let's check out the website itself. So here it is. And I'll post the link, actually. Post the link in the chat. So if any of you guys do want to sign up for this brand new vaccine, you can do it here. The mission is to conduct a phase 3 vaccine and monoclonal antibody efficacy study for the prevention of COVID-19. And there's some stuff in here. They have some about us. What to expect when you volunteer. There's some interesting stuff in that we'll go through. So before you join a clinical study, they will... I don't want to go through this point by point. What were some of the interesting things? I thought this was interesting. If you do actually get coronavirus at some point, they will make sure you get the care you need. How swell are they? But it sounds pretty basic. One of the few things I mentioned in the article is that basically it'd be a 1 to 2 year, which is weird right there. And that kind of tells me that that's probably not what to expect. Because if they're saying they hope to have this vaccine out by January 2021, which is another way of saying 6 months, it would be weird that people doing the experimental vaccines would be receiving theirs 14 months from now, 18 months from now, 20 months. Like, wouldn't that be weird? If it's like you get your vaccine February 2021 and you find out that people taking the experimental vaccines are still checking back in like June of 2021, July 2022. That's weird to me. It makes me think that's just a boilerplate thing. Like, generally speaking, we would do this, but I have to imagine they're streamlining this, and I've seen they've been like, they are definitely trying to get something like this out as soon as possible. So that was really weird. Anyways, that's the actual news of it. Let's see. Gonna be probably, I have to admit, don't have as many topics pulled up today, but that is because today's probably gonna be a little bit shorter than normal because it is indeed my birthday today. So with Cardin gone, and unfortunately not a whole lot to do. Generally speaking, I'd go to a baseball game or something, but everything's closed. So I figured I'd come here for a little while, but I thought it'd be interesting to talk about in general the idea of, really experimental vaccines, right? Things that, like, someone has to sign up for them, obviously. even if like they are messing around with like gross stuff in there, odds are it'll do nothing more than it will kill you, right? Like, but it is still weird. I wonder what you guys in the chat think about this, just the concept or the idea of, like, let me know in chat, how many of you, I posted the link, right? How many of you will go there and sign up to take your experimental coronavirus vaccine? Now, there is the crazy selfish mindset of like, there's like a 1 in 3 chance I actually do get the vaccine if I sign up and they accept me. And then there's like, who knows what kind of chance when you take the vaccine, and then you add that to whatever percent, but there's a good chance that they could get their vaccine before other people. And you know what? If there's 50,000 people selfish enough out there that just like have like a glow in their eye that maybe I get my vaccine first, hey, whatever, man. More power to them. Helps all of us, right? Makes it easier. But I'll thank you guys. But I wonder. I just wonder how many people will sign up. I wonder if they're gonna have issues. I guess the good way of putting it. I wonder if they're gonna have any problem recruiting for this. Like I said, personally, I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna sign up to. Here's the thing, right? Like, even if the vaccine works, the government's saying like 70, 75. Like, this is one way, it's always important. I don't think it's important to take one way or the other, right? But you should always look at something like 70% effectiveness. It's another way of saying that 30% of the time it fails. And just look at it both ways. I'm not saying one is better than the other. It's just important for your mind to see it both ways. 3 in 10 people have a bogus coronavirus in the government, a bogus vaccine, or one that just doesn't work for them for whatever reason, and the government will call it a success. Now, again, I don't know. I don't know what vaccines, I don't know what the average failure rate for a vaccine is. Maybe like 90% is impossible and most settle around 85. I don't know. There's always numbers to it. But someone said they might. Very cool. Uranus. Very cool. Hopefully when you're still going back 18 months from now, it's for good reasons. When they've given us all our vaccines. That is still the weird thing. Now, what it obviously tells me, like in all seriousness, what it tells me is this is a pie-in-the-sky statement here by Alex Azar, the Health and Human Services Secretary, who said that he wants to be able to deliver a safe, effective vaccine by January 2021. My guys, that's 6 months, guys. 6 months. They just, I think they said in this, or they mentioned in this that Moderna had to push back their trials because it's taking longer than they thought to get them started. And there's somebody from the government, I don't know when this quote's from, honestly. Oh my God, Monday. No, hold on. A little bit different here. They said they hope, on Monday, so that's weird. They always, I get you have to do it to make the article sound better, but it says here at the top infectious disease doctor, said Monday that they hope that by the end of this year, the beginning of 2021, in the next 6 months, they will at least have an answer whether the vaccine or the vaccines are safe and effective. So I guess that's the same message, yeah. Crazy. Because it's the government. If you sign up today, the odds that you're getting your vaccine within 30 days, I would say, are slim to none. So now we're talking basically 5 months from when they start. I don't know. Maybe they can get research on if a vaccine works or not. Like, what? Do they give you the vaccine and just give you coronavirus and say, well, I guess it worked? No, because people have placebos. I don't exactly know how they would find out in 6 sounds charitable. 4, 5, 3 months to get it by the end of 2020, beginning of 2021. Now, there is also what I would say to it. And you can look at it any way you want. I look at it this way. I do believe this administration really can't speak for anything that happens after January of 2021 yet. Right? Like, how do any of these people know they'll still be where they are? And anyone in the... Because there's an election in November. They could say, hey, look, between now and 2021 of January, we hope to do what we can. After that, we don't know, man. Either way, you could say even if, probably not if Trump holds, but if Trump loses the election, right? Biden takes over. Biden would probably have to just leave them alone. Otherwise, it would probably put a delay in things, right? If you wanted to supplant new people in charge, you'd have to kind of leave them alone anyway. So I don't think it should matter. But it is interesting. That's about as far as they'll speak into the future on this. The end of the Trump administration. They're saying, well, hopefully we have it by then. After that, who knows? But I have to imagine if Biden wins, he would... Look, would he really fire Fauci and this Alex Azar and everybody working on this and turn everything over to put his people in charge? I hope not. You mean never put it past a politician or political party. They might. Democrats might say, hey, who cares, man? We need our people in those positions, not Trump's people in those positions. A lot of people say, well, one of Trump's mistakes was Trump didn't do that. Trump got in office and left a lot of Obama people in there, and they worked against him. But still, it's like they're working on a vaccine. I don't know. It just feels like what a weird number. Like 6 months, January 2021. It went like a pie in the sky. Like they just tried to have a coronavirus vaccine trial and it didn't work. They had to push it back a month. They're like, yeah, where's the? I want to see if I can find the actual quote and I'll see if I can pull it up for you guys. But it was interesting listening to people from this lab. They're like, yeah, I mean, hopefully it'll start. We don't know. You hopefully start soon, but we have had to push it back before. We might have to push it back again. It's like, what? How are they going to have this done? Here we go. A vaccine developed by Moderna, a Massachusetts biotech company, is expected to be the first to be tested in a large trial. That trial was expected to begin this week, but the start date was moved to late July or early August. I love that. Late July, early August. It was just moved to later. It was moved to some other time. That's when it was moved to. Weeks, a month, I don't know. Who knows? How can anyone know? People from the government are saying, hopefully we're done and we have results by 2021, the very beginning. While, this company's saying, hopefully a month from now, it's the 8th of July, hopefully August 8th, we'll be starting. Which, again, puts us at what, 4, 5, 3 months? How are they hoping to get this data in? So, I shouldn't be too surprised. More kind of pie-in-the-sky nonsense kind of lies from the government, right? Oh, Sly Cactus, $5. Happy birthday, Cody. Take this money and have a good time. Thank you very much, man. I very much appreciate it. And I will do my best. Hopefully when I'll have some more fun when I get out of town in a couple days. Again, I'll be gone Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. You'll have Carden here instead. And then hopefully Thursday of next week we'll be back together at the same time. But anyway, sorry. I was just going through some stuff in chat there for a second. But yeah, it is just all around weird. One of those stories. I heard it coming out, and I'm not one of those people that's like, I'll admit, me personally, I don't love the idea of taking a vaccine from the government. If I have to, maybe I have to. I don't know. I'm not going to tell people what they should or shouldn't do. Something like that. But it is weird, the idea of them launching this stuff and just some of the numbers and stuff they put out. Now, I think, again, the more obvious answer is it probably is just baloney, just garbage. Just obviously some of the data and numbers going out there are not going to happen the way they said. I mean, a vaccine, again, weird though. It's, I don't know. So anyway, I guess, happy early birthday, Sly Cactus. Oh, let's see. So anything else than that last little bit here? I went through that. I mean, I don't have too much more to say about that. Just want to let you guys know that this stuff is starting now. Government's putting baloney out there, like they hope to have the vaccine ready in 6 months, which I just doesn't even make any sense. Don't think they will. My melanated scope, $2 super chat. I'm no guinea pig, lab rat, maybe no. Lab rat maybe, but no guinea pig. That's the weird thing, right? It's just like, and Joshua, her $5. Check out Emmett Short's Knee of the Curve episode on Moderna. Okay, I'll have to do that. Definitely heard of those are all like words I've heard. I haven't seen them rearranged that particular way, but I definitely think I know what you're talking about. Let me look at that. Anyways. But yeah, to get back to, I forgot the earlier super chat though, the idea of it is weird to be the government's guinea pig for its vaccine. Here's the thing. Someone's got to do it, right? Now, I'm fine with finding 50 to 60,000 people. You could just bribe, hey, it's like a loot box or like a Pokemon card pack. Like, there's a small chance you get a actual vaccine and not a placebo, and it works, and before everybody else, and like you're like one of the first vaccinated people. You can go to like Disneyland first, stand in front of, I don't know, some baloney, right? Like if we can just find people like that and bribe them that way, I'm fine with it. But I could see the trepidation of anyone. And some people are just like, look, I don't care. I think it's a worthy thing to volunteer for. Cool. I hear that. I wouldn't do it. I'll say it straight up. But at the same time, I'm not like a vaccine. I'll be honest, right? It sounds weird, but it feels like a very personal thing, right? That's kind of between you and, I don't know, but it's like really what you put in your body. Like that's kind of a weird, I don't know, like don't take that medicine. There, I guess that medicine's weird. It's a vaccine. It like actually does kind of change stuff, right? Look at this picture. Right? Oh, never mind. That's a picture of the coronavirus itself infesting you. But it's just weird. Either way, they're gonna one way or another. Hopefully, they don't do what they've done the other way, which would have been in the past. But one way or another, they are going to find out. Not find out. That's the wrong way of putting it. One way or another, they're going to get a little bit further into this coronavirus research stuff. Whether they have a bunch of people volunteer, and everyone, just says, I'm doing my part. Just doing my part. Or, the alternatives are always bad for how you test vaccines. Moderna synthesizes mRNA using CRISPR technology. That's how they managed to create a vaccine ticket trials. So that very weird. Okay, so they're doing like not like biohacking, but like that sounds like crazy stuff. Crazy stuff, man. Now hopefully it does work though. Hopefully it's good enough and they can get this stuff done soon. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you one thing. You know who definitely wants that vaccine? Probably closer to November of 2020, preferably November 1st or November 2nd of 2020. Is anybody working in the Trump administration? That would just as like an organism, the administration, like as a political organism fighting for its survival, going into an election, they want the vaccine as soon as humanly possible. And I don't see how it can be ready before the election. But at the same time, what's a better thing than being able to promise people that with how things are going right now, all things staying the same, the vaccine's ready in like 2 months, 3 months. That's probably actually a more compelling pitch than I've already delivered you the vaccine. Because then the vaccine could be 65% effective when they roll it out in January after the election and he won. So that could be why they want it done around then. Just after the election. Not in time for the election, but just after. Just to let people know, hey, a new person gets elected. You never know. They might do weird stuff, delay it further. We're almost ready to roll right now. That's actually a good pitch. I think I like that. I kind of took your word for that one when I said CRISPR. I'm like, right, that's what that is. Let's see. $5 super chat from my melanated scope. He said, Tulsa's Rona surge being attributed to the Trump rally. Do you think it's media bias or is it legit? Probably a little bit of both. It's probably anything that got a lot of people out and not locked down in their house and doing other things for any reason probably led to the spread of, like, here's the thing, like, let's go through that a little bit. The general. Let's see if there's still, I want to see if I can still find this. There's a graph I saw and it was deaths and how many people were, like, deaths and cases. And it was a chart. And I remember the deaths and the cases were largely mirroring each other for a while. And then it looked like recently cases went up, deaths were going down. And to me, it's kind of a little, let's see. And, it looks like, okay, this is a day-to-day thing. I want to, no, this is all time. Okay, here we go. This is kind of what I wanted to look at. Okay, so. Actually, it looks different according to this. According to Google's daily daily changes. Let's look at this. Some of them. Anyway, what I want to get to is this. What I mean by this. Yes, people coming together to do things, it definitely led to more people getting coronavirus. People leaving their house leads to people getting coronavirus. Personally, I think the fact that coronavirus isn't as lethal as we thought is the reason why more young people are getting tested are finding positive for coronavirus. Young people that are largely asymptomatic. I think that's why that is one of the largest surging groups. Because they probably were just going out anyway. And then once they found out, even if I get coronavirus, it won't be that bad for me probably. So they got tested and found out, I have it. Okay. $5 super chat from BTS Army Mom. Thank you. Happy birthday, Cody. Don't spend this all in one place. Thank you very much. Also, as we're able to treat people better, we'll have more like hospital visitations and cases, but less deaths. So here's the thing. Anything where people come out, like just pick a thing. When anything reopens, it will lead to an increase in coronavirus cases. You can call it a spike even. It'll go straight up. It'll look something akin to, here we go. This. Right? You might call that a spike. Here is, according to Google, the daily change in coronavirus cases. And you can see it's just steadily going up, increasing all the time. All right? This is the change in cases. So how many, plus, right? Well, it's California. Sorry. I want to do everyone. All regions of the U.S. Here we go, right? And you can see it just literally was going down. But then we go to deaths. And that's the inverse of what's going on. Which, to me, very encouraging. That's why I don't get too caught up in headlines and stuff like that. Very encouraged by these numbers. These numbers tell me that, and you can see the different scales, but still, it's just you can chart the pattern, right? Right now, we're entering a pattern of we're diagnosing more people and seeing less deaths. Tells me we're better at treating this. We're better at diagnosing this. We can recognize it and isolate it easier, therefore treat it better, and we know what treatments work and what didn't. So I think the spike in cases is a weird number to look at right now, because just the other numbers don't point to the spike in cases being like the worst thing ever. However, to your point, anything will lead to an increase in cases, because more people being around each other will lead to an increase. But part of it is these numbers, they're available, one. And here's the thing, even if they aren't available, people live in this world, they live in the real world, and they know this intuitively. They know that, it feels like I'm hearing about less people dying of coronavirus, and I'm hearing people getting sick with coronavirus. It seems like people who get coronavirus are getting treated easier. And again, I'm not trying to say getting coronavirus is like no big deal. Just because you don't die. It's like, when they count people died in a battle. And you're like, really? In a big war, in a battle, like that many people died? It's like, well, a lot lived, but they were, horribly maimed. I mean, a lot of people live with coronavirus and have lasting health effects, but the larger point is people are being more comfortable to go out, to engage, to do the things that would lead to them getting sick. Now, I will point to this. The numbers do show that very recently, in the last couple of days, we've seen an increase in deaths, but I wonder what that means just as much as the holiday weekend. I would imagine that's also an increase in cases. But just something to keep an eye on. Now, if this changes and all of a sudden we start seeing the deaths just start going up, 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 this is the beginning of that trend, that's bad, and it's just lagging, that's possible. That's possible. It doesn't seem to be the case. Not just looking at numbers and, reading tea leaves from numbers, quotes from people in hospitals saying, yes, we're having increased people coming in that are sick, but we're treating them faster and, they're not dying or turning them around. Healthy, shorter visits, better care. But that gets back to, again, that we're going to have the cases continually spike. More people are going to, because and there is always been a slight lag on the increase, about a couple weeks, because how long it takes. But still, you can just see through some other charts. This is not the only one, but a couple of charts like this, the same thing, that the spike has been much more dramatic and prolonged, and we haven't seen anything quite like that with the deaths yet. We'll see what this means right here, with this being one of the deadliest days in quite a while. If that's a trend that continues, then we'll have to look. But even then, though, you'd have to compare it to here's the thing, man. I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but I do know this. It seems, I live in LA where cases are spiking, more people are getting coronavirus than ever. And just with my own eyes and ears, I look around and it just doesn't seem to be that way. Things seem to be better off people now than they were a couple months ago. So there is a lot of events that are going to go on that are going to lead to an increase in okay. But anyway, but there is the bigger risk is people not like it's bad. People don't want it. It's not. But I have to. Okay, I'll tell you this one. I'll tell you this much. That's the last thing I'll say about coronavirus today. If we are worse at diagnosing, treating, and preventing death with coronavirus today than we were 3-4 months ago, that's the story. Okay. If we aren't saving more people, getting them out of hospitals sooner and alive with less long-lasting effects, and it's actually worse now, because more people are getting sick, that's getting worse. If our treatment's also getting worse, maybe even just more strange, you can put it that way, but then that's the headline. The headline isn't cases are going up. Headline is treatment's getting worse. But as treatment gets better, I have to imagine cases will go up with anything. If people are petrified to move because they're going to get the death flu, then yeah, everyone's going to be locked down in their house doing nothing because they're like, oh my God, I'll be, in a body bag in a hallway. But if the perception is that's not the case, and even if you do get it, you'll be treated, people are selfish. They'll go out and get sick. And then they'll get tested. And go, my God, how do I get sick? But that comes from the fact that people are getting treated better. Like, I don't know. Call me crazy, but that seems to be the case. Mona Scope, $5 super chat. Trump threatening to cut funds for schools so don't open. Thoughts? Do anti-closure folks back it if it puts their kids in danger? So he's threatening to cut funds for schools. Yes, sorry. For the schools that... I mean... It's weird. I don't know. That's one of those weird things. I think it'd be weird that... It shows that there's too much... Here's the thing. Private schools, especially universities, take a lot of public funding, and they technically can be told by the federal government what they can do and can't do. But it is weird, man. I don't know what's supposed to do with schools. I actually was just reading an op-ed, I think, in the New York Times today, with a professor who has kids that go to school, who was complaining that he's like, look, man, $30,000 a semester for online college is crap. It sucks. Kids aren't learning, and they hate it, and it's not worth the money. Like I said, Harvard said all of our classes will be online, and tuition is the same. Go pound sand. You're going to Harvard, so you don't care about the money, I guess. But still, I'll be honest. I'm not going to wade into the argument of when they should or shouldn't. I definitely think I think it should be a state or regional or county issue, really. But even then, that's not how the money works. These aren't county-funded schools necessarily, right? So funding's important, but yeah, I don't know. It's really weird. Like, even if it is for good reason, what if the government does have schools closed for 3 full semesters? Could say it's like, what, 3 full semesters isn't that long. It's not that much. But people are going to want schools open. And then I don't see why, but even charter schools take a lot of public funds, right? There isn't that many schools that are 100% privately funded that probably could do it. It's weird, right? It's a weird thing with schools. I honestly don't know what they should do. Probably the government shouldn't be, I don't know. What if, the federal government saying we think the schools should be open for kids to learn? That's a pretty defendable position, even if you could say, well, they might get coronavirus. They'll say so, kids get... Like the notion that every school was able to, on the fly, develop online curriculum that won't, hamper and set kids back by being, ineffective and, other things not being provided. Schools provide other services that aren't being provided. I mean, denying those services to kids for an extended period of time when the federal government wants to step in and change that, is it the worst thing? It's kind of weird. That's what I mean. I could see that case coming from the government. That, look, we feel it's more important the schools are open and we do what we can to maintain the spread in the schools. Because we use schools... Because it's a legit thing. The government uses public schools to provide services. It's as a point of... it's not a point of sale, right? But it's where the services actually are provided to people. And people talk about it all the time when they close the school down. What about daycare? What about lunches? It's yeah, that's, kind of one of the things the government is providing with schools, isn't it? It's kind of a service you are paying into and getting. Because, yeah, they could just send kids books, send them papers, and have them go take a test somewhere. You don't even need a school anywhere, really. Technically, you can educate everyone from home. Let's tear down the schools. No schools. Obviously in jest, but it is an interesting argument from the state, and it's not the worst one I've ever heard. Also, let's see if we have that vaccine in 2021, January. Who knows? Maybe it doesn't even matter anymore. It's one semester and we're back on our feet. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know when, or... Yeah. Because also, I haven't been to school in years. I have no idea what they should be doing with schools. I don't got kids in school. It doesn't matter to me. I don't even really know how long kids have been out of school. Has it been 4 or 5 months now? I don't even know. Semester starts August, right? So they have to make up their mind soon. But, like, what about that? Like, when are people going to talk about that? That's a big issue with schools. I was bringing it up. Let's see if I can pull that same op-ed up, and we'll go through it. The guy, I don't even actually know who wrote it, but whoever wrote the article, they mentioned, hold on. I think I have to go to the website and pull it up. But, they mentioned some things that they thought schools could do to deal with it. But, like, if we're going to move, here we go. New York City schools will not fully reopen in the fall. But if we're going to move to just, like, in general, we educate remotely. Sorry. I hope. Oh, it actually was it was a Mrs. Lisa Feldman Barrett. My apologies. Or I don't know if it was Miss or Mrs. Whatever. My apologies either way. College courses online are disappointing. Here's how to fix them. No one wants to pay $30,000 per semester for the current experience. Millions of families with college-age children face a difficult choice. As school after school announces that it will welcome students back to campus this fall, many classes, perhaps most, may continue to be held online. A survey of college students in the spring found that 75% were disappointed with the online learning experience during lockdown. Only mostly everyone. Is it worth paying as much as $30,000 per semester for that sort of education? I'd say no, right? So as a tuition-paying parent of a student at a small and not inexpensive liberal arts college, in other words, a sucker, I've learned that my family gets the best bang for our buck when our daughter engages directly with her professors or classmates and the material. Imagine that! Kids get the most for the money they pay to go to school when they're at school doing school stuff. Crazy. I don't know why that case has, like, obviously it's better. It's not that schools are moving towards online stuff to, like, save costs on their end. They're kind of forced to because of the ongoing pandemic, right? Like, I'm not so much into the discussion of, should we be teaching schools online as much? It's like, well, if we're doing it because we have to, I hope there'd just be more discussion on how we could do better. So anyway, they get into this. They get into a modified tutorial system. Oh, sorry, here we go. In the classic tutorial system, which this author recommends, students do most of their learning in small sessions that include the professor or an assistant and just a few other students. The students are expected to work actively with the material as they engage critically with the instructor and one another. Discussions and additional reading are tailored to students' abilities and interests. Courses may also include larger lectures and traditional exams, but the tutorials are where the main action happens. The University of Oxford and Cambridge in England employ the classic tutorial system, and some aspects are practiced by small colleges in the United States, such as Williams and Sarah Lawrence. So they mentioned a modified version, so the professors could record lectures on video for later viewing, annotate them with required and supplemental readings, and then schedule live video tutorials with, say, 4 or 5 students each. The style of learning might sound more challenging than sitting passively in a lecture hall, and it is, but research consistently shows that active learning leads to better learning. Again, is this something, though, that any, like, and I'm talking about for university, it's you don't pay for your kids to go to high school, but I have to imagine, and they don't probably like just doing their homework online either, and not really showing up for, like, Zoom meetings and stuff like that. However, I don't think, how many schools have the infrastructure and are ready right now to record God knows how many hours of lectures, distribute as much material to students. That the distribution, like doing homework online, doing work online, and submitting work online, that's there. But the idea of, like, how many high schools are ready to distribute video lectures? Have teachers come in, record them. For how long? With what? Doing what? Just like they're teaching a class with nobody there? Not a bad idea, but who's doing that? Should the state force them to? I would rather these discussions are being had than just should the schools stay open or closed. Because if one of the arguments is for why the schools should reopen is because the level of service being provided through online classes right now is garbage, which kind of sounds like it is, and there's no return argument, but it's too dangerous. It just sounds like everybody loses. Why is the argument not, okay, we'll improve the online experience? It's a pretty decent suggestion here. Pretty easy, not easy to implement, but makes more sense to implement, right? Just schedule individual meetings, and some schools probably are doing this. Some teachers probably taking it upon themselves to do this. But think of how long it takes to get any major curriculum overhaul actually implemented into a school, one school district correctly. Excuse me. Let me phrase that again. I have to imagine it is not easy to get one school district to, like, adopt a new set of textbooks. That probably costs a lot of money and takes a lot of time to implement correctly. with professors and and teachers trained on older materials being caught up to new methods. I'm sure it takes a while. We just flipped a switch and said, "Well, we're online now." I know a lot of schools have moved towards it, but I don't think there was a federal standard for online schools for public schooling. Maybe. I don't think it existed. I think certain districts probably encouraged to do better, or some districts maybe took it upon themselves. But correct me if I'm wrong, Chad. Let me know. Is there like a rule of like every school needs to provide this minimum of services to students online? I don't think it exists, but we just flipped the switch and said, well, you're all online now. So that might be the more fruitful argument is what I'm saying. Should we reopen? Is it too dangerous? It probably is too dangerous if you're talking about kids getting coronavirus, then yeah. Like I said, any event full of people, any demonstration, protest, riot, rally, anything will lead to a spike in coronavirus cases. But if we can't treat them and address them and deal with them, so then let's say, okay, we are screwed. Schools can't open. Too dangerous. Then there shouldn't even be a discussion on it. And we should move on to the discussion of how we're going to improve it. And I'm sure some people are having it, but I'm not hearing it. Now, it does sound like the federal government, Trump's response, is just open them. We are not putting forward a proposal. I will say, though, I don't know what the federal government could put together in a few months. I really don't. As far as like having online schooling at an acceptable level for every student in the country. Because think about this, like this is the classic, right? Like what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like liberal progressive argument, right? So you'd have to imagine that underserved communities probably have some of the worst infrastructure for distributing, collecting, recording, and just doing schooling through the internet. They probably have less students. This was actually a problem they used to bring up, that not every student has access to a computer to attend a Zoom lecture. So maybe they'll give it to them, but maybe not every. And then here's the thing, like maybe those underserved communities that don't. So you're just forcing these underserved communities to use insufficient, online teaching mechanisms for an extended period of time. It's one of the problems with being, it's one of the problems with people damned if you do, damned if you don't approach to Trump with everything, is he'll just do whatever now. Because there's always the inverse argument, but that's honestly sounds kind of logical to me, right? If you're saying, hey, certain communities in this country aren't getting proper attention to the schooling system, and you're saying we should force those people to just rely on like one of the probably least efficient aspects of their local schooling systems for an extended period of time and just not talk about it because too dangerous to reopen, that sucks, man. They're going to get screwed. They're just going to get set back. Hey, it's probably going to be a very interesting year or two taking in new high school students into college. You might see who actually did have pretty good standards of online learning for like a year there during the shutdown, and who didn't when it comes time to apply. And it's like, wow, these people actually were able to stay on top of their stuff and have a worthy resume to apply to a school, where some other kids just kind of have like a year removed from their education. It's going to suck. I just hope more people move towards, again, the discussion of what can we do to improve that if we're going to have to be online. And I hope that I would rather the Trump administration came out with that and said, fine, we're going to impose a new set of standards on schools but again, that would be so hard to implement. Anyway, my Melanated Scope, thank you very much, man. $2 super chat. Off topic, Cody's top 5 Kanye West songs. Okay. This is going to be like top 5's the wrong way of looking at it, but here's 5 off the top of my head I would go to that immediately stand out to me, right? So I said the other stream, We Major, Blood on the Leaves. I think Blood on the Leaves, one of his better songs. I like that. Gone, from one of his earlier albums. Gone, very good song. Man. Yeah. It's just tough. Like I can name like 50 songs, right? I think Power, honestly, I do like Power. I think it's one of the better songs. And let's see, 5th song, if I had to pick one. You made me narrow it down and pick one. God, I don't know, man. There's so many good songs. I would have to probably just pick something like, honestly, Good Morning. There we go. So that would be my 5. So it'd be Blood in the Leaves, We Major, Gone, Good Morning, and Power. There we go. And again, though, just that's 5 that came to the top of my head as songs I really like. There's way more. Viscatronic, $5 super chat. The K-12 online schooling program might be a good example since they've been doing it pre-Rona. They have, right? But I wonder just at what at a certain level. But was it ready for them to flip the switch and say now they don't come to school for anything at all? Like anything at all. Again, there's a lot of services schools provide that weren't just distributed online. Like any of that stuff, it's just they don't get it anymore. That's what I wonder. If there's makeup for... Like, again, there is... it sucks 2020, but there probably is still schools somewhere where, like, having a bunch of computers is a pretty good commodity for the local populace of students that go there. They don't all probably have a bunch of computers they can access all the time. Less so now, because now just computer... Like, if you're talking about, like, just computer, like, something that goes online, I mean, we're down to, like, under $100 to access with the computer. It is more accessible, but still, you see what I mean? Like, other services... Like, I don't, it's been a while since I went to public school, right? But public schools, K through 12 especially, right? There is a lot of different services that the county or the state or the city will provide to families and young people through the school. Like, it's literally, that's what it's there for. And, like, think about it. Like that's literally part of, like, helping feed families, is you can sign up for meal programs through the schools. That's you signing up with the government for a meal program for your child they use the school to distribute it to. Like, I know, I've noticed right around the school nearby where we record this, a couple of schools, and I've noticed the elementary school where they do kind of have that more, at least for the local districts out here, once you get to like middle, like anything above like 6th grade, they don't really distribute lunches the same way, but through there, you could still go and get your lunch from the school, even though the schools are closed. They have someone like just handing out lunches. That's a service being provided by the school. Service you paid for. And there's more, too. I mean, it's a way for the government to create little areas for, like, kids to go and, like, mess around during the daytime where they're more or less safe. They maintain all kinds of weird things that just won't be there. I mean, I don't know if they have answer to avoid for some of that stuff. A lot of it they do. Like I said, the answer for the lunches example here, but what about, like, what about people that are essential workers who do kind of still need their kids to be somewhere for a couple hours during the day while they go work? What about them? Which kind of sucks. I've heard a lot of those stories, actually. People saying, it's not that I hate my kids and I can't raise them, but it was kind of nice when I could leave the house to go to work for a few hours and knew they were somewhere. Maybe I only had to arrange for someone to watch my kids for like 2 or 3 hours a day. And hey, watching someone else's kids for 2 or 3 hours kind of sucks. Not that bad. Watching them for 8, 9, that kind of sucks even more. Maybe people say no. But like, what? Is the government going to open up like daycares you can bring your kids to? And then it's like, well, why don't they just reopen the school? It's a weird argument, right? Weird argument. Trade schools are online too, and they can't even teach it. Yeah, that's something else too. Like, some things you can teach pretty easily through the air. Not everything. So there we go. There we go. There's some. So let's see. Well, any other last things you guys want to? MMORPGs that are educational, dude. If there was enough money for VR schooling, I've been trying to buy a VR headset for the last little while. I thought I was gonna get myself for my birthday this year. I was gonna get a VR headset, and they're all sold out, man. They got Rona'd. Can't get them anywhere for at least on Amazon for a decent price. But I remember seeing. I forgot what it was, but somebody did like a political rally through VR, like VR chat. What's the name of that? It's like a video game, I guess, but not really. It's just kind of like a VR chat room, really. But I saw someone hold like a political rally through it. But I thought, how interesting and cool could that, like, you could actually do something with that. And I think it would be creepy to have a bunch of kids in a VR classroom, but that is getting pretty close to emulating the experience actually being there. It is goofy, but I and that's way in the future, way into the future. But it would be interesting. I was looking at either Oculus or I think I just was reading online. I think some of the Samsung ones. I want to get one that hooks up to PC because not one of the all-in-one ones, not one of the ones that go through a computer. so that I can play my Valve games on it. Because I want to play like Half-Life Alyx and what are some of the other ones? Is it Pavlov VR? A couple of the games like that. I want to play those, and those are through Steam. I don't think those are through the other stores. There we go. Joshua Her, $5 super chat. Thank you very much, man. Did you hear about Yang's time interview? Do you think he could be in a Biden admin? And do you think he would be effective? Not quite sure, potentially. If it was in the last day or so, no. But I do remember interviewing with Yang I read a little while ago. Anyway, though, on the idea of do you think he could be in Biden admin, would it be effective? No offense, he probably wouldn't be effective, no. Just because there's no flame to Andrew, I like Andrew Yang. But at this point, man, if you're in, it's one thing if you're like at the top, right? Like if he did it, if he ran this race and he won president, it'd be one thing. But coming in the cabinet, dude, I don't think Andrew Yang's the kind of guy that knows how to operate as a cabinet member. It happens a lot. Somebody's appointed to a position in the government who's not actually necessarily like a lot of experience working in the bureaucracy of Washington. And they're there for other reasons, and they get there, and they don't know they don't know how to do anything. They're not a bureaucrat, and everything's bureaucracy, and they just don't do anything and leave. It's like, wasn't it weird? Didn't they appoint so-and-so to that? What did they do? Nothing. They're not bureaucrats. They have to go to, the heart of bureaucracy, Washington, D.C., and get owned, and they leave. So, unfortunately, I feel like Yang would be one of those guys. He'd get up there, he'd probably have some stuff he want to do, and it would just be as a cabinet. Because as a cabinet member, it's one thing if it's like you're tabbed by the president to be a member of a task force, something like that, right? But when you're a member of the cabinet, he can fire you. You that's your boss. You work for the administration. It's different. You have to kind of walk the party line more. It's not just kind of like you're someone they're having come in as like an advisor or whatever. So I would actually rather Yang maybe wasn't in the cabinet because I can't imagine Andrew Yang. I can't imagine anybody could be in a presidential cabinet for 4 to 8 years and then want to run for president again unless they're just crazy. And people have obviously done that, I understand, and they're crazy. And I hear your point, man, about waiting to get a VR headset. I've been doing that for years, too. There's a part of me that wants to wait till the Valve headset is more reasonable. Just because I will not spend $1,000 in a VR headset. And not going to do it. Will not spend $1,000. But, $450, $500, I might say, that's something's closer, but I'm not spending $1,000 on one, so. Let's see. What else is there? I'm not going to watch the video of the van running into people or whatever. Sorry. I literally could not tell you what somebody was thinking when they were driving a car. I couldn't. That's all way in. Because they're just like, I don't know, man. Who knows? Literally, who knows? I could probably make either case. How about that? However, if we're talking about the one in Seattle, right, I believe... Oh, one people got killed. Yeah, I have no idea, man. Literally no idea. Probably not. Most people don't want to kill people. He probably wasn't, but, I don't know. I wasn't in the car. I wasn't... It just feels weird to, look at, try to glean motive. Oh, look, I don't know. I would lean towards probably not, but you could probably make a case either way. That's the problem with almost all of this stuff. People will be like, oh, what do you think about this? And it's like, yeah, you'll notice that you could probably make a case either way. So people will just take either side. So it's like, I feel differently. Well, I feel differently. Okay. Well, that's why we have a judge and a jury. And not me. What's the most you spent on a CS ghost skin? What's the most? Not very much. $5 maybe. Like I said, I think she was anti-gay, says Anthony. Well, I think she was actually Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Stone Cold Steve Austin would never have done something like that. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know what they believe. I don't know what they do. I don't know what was going through their mind. I don't know what they saw. Perhaps, sometimes people are in situations and they see and perceive things that aren't real. And they have to try to explain that justification later, and it's weird. But they were there. They saw it and felt it. Gonna call them wrong? So that's why largely I'm glad that we have a judge and a jury. So when people commit crimes, the judge and the jury can make sure they're held responsible best they can. Because, like, I'm not... One of my favorite films, as a matter of fact. It's a film called Anatomy of a Murder. It's an older film. It stars James Stewart, George C. Scott, Ben Gazzara, one of my favorite character actors of the 70s and 80s and 60s, I guess, talking about this film. And the judge in the film actually was a real judge. Anyway, whole purpose of the film is about the lawyer getting a guy off on the grounds of temporary insanity when he shot a man that had allegedly assaulted his wife. And they go through all of it. And anyway, the reason why I want to bring it up, it's one of the reasons why, man, I don't judge why people do certain things. So we have a judge and a jury to do it. Does the jury... Let me ask something. Do they bring the jury in, have them watch a 30-second clip, and say, well, what's the verdict? So why should we be doing that? That's what I don't get. It's like, why is there even a trial? Why do we even have all these? Why is there even a lawyer? We can just run the clip, say, here's the evidence, clear as day. Jury, make your decision. Guilty, cool. Judge, sorry, we don't even have a judge. I don't know. That's why, generally speaking, I don't talk about stories like that. I don't bring them up. I'll talk about the trial, right? If there's but like we have a judge and a jury and a legal system for those reasons. There's a reason why we don't just run a clip and say, here's a couple social media posts, here's a couple pictures, here's the video of the incident itself. So make your decision, because that's just not how our legal system works. So I don't know. Hey, like I said, man, and tell you what, Anthony, in your legal system, that's what we'll do. We'll just bring people in, run the video, and say guilty or not. Cool, guilty. We'll be able to clear a lot of cases a lot faster. But in America, we don't do that. That's just not how the legal system works. So I'm not gonna just... There's a couple of reasons why. One, I got news. Doesn't matter what any single person in this chat thinks about that as far as the actual justice being served one way or the other. None of our opinions matter on it. Doesn't. No one's gonna ask us. We're not on the jury. We're not the defendant. We're not part of the legal team. We don't work for the courts. But you know what's funny? A lot of people are going to have their opinions asked on it, and they matter. Because they are those things, and they will decide what happens in the case. So monitor to them. Call them out if you think they're baloney. But just saying, people should... I'm not going to go one way or the other. I really don't. Generally speaking, what I'll try to do is I'll try to look at it from both sides. And most of the time, it's crazy. You really can make an argument either way. Hey, maybe they were just doing this to make us think that, but then they did that. I don't know, sure. Maybe this happened. I don't know, sure. Sorry. Getting agitated. But it's just why I don't like talking about stories like that in general, where it's like some small violent or non-violent crime was committed between two individuals or more. Yeah, it happens every single day, man, all across this country. Awful crimes, actually. Terrible crime. Crimes much worse than that committed on a daily basis in this country. Crimes that if they were captured on video, you probably wouldn't want to watch the video. Can happen every single day in this country. And our legal system isn't, that's why we have, and our legal system isn't perfect, but it's why it isn't good for a bunch of people to go around deciding who's guilty and who's innocent. So we, over thousands of years, create different systems. So I don't like this new style of journalism where they'll just be like, 2 people got in a fight. Isn't this crazy? It's like, not really, man. People get fights all the time. If you take a look of the total, I'll tell you one thing. Your odds of getting hit by a car drastically increase when you're in the road. I can just say that. Not being like funny or just the odds that a car hits you go up probably by big percentages when you're in where the cars go. So right, wrong, unfair, fair, just, targeted, accident, whatever. Suddenly those are in play. So once again, why it's I'm not there. I haven't spoken to people. I don't know any of their minds for any of this stuff. So I just leave it be. Everybody is better off. As long as we can believe in the system for working on some level, you're better off for ignoring it and just trusting the system will deal with it. If you don't, that's a different problem. And you know what? Here's the thing. Sometimes you have to actually ask what's worth it. How much do I distrust it or trust it? Because seriously, what are you going to do if you don't agree? What are you going to do if you don't personally agree with the outcome of a trial you had nothing to do with? What are you going to do? Say system's broken, I guess. Tell you what, man. It sounds like a very needlessly miserable time. You know? There's so many hours in a day, so much stuff a person can do. There's a community around you. I don't live in Seattle. Maybe you do. You live in Seattle, I can see you feel different. I don't live in Seattle, man. Don't know who any of these people are. Bad things happen much closer to me all the time. People closer to me all the time. I just really, I see this happen every single day. It drives me crazy. Every day there's a new video. Some guy, there's a video going around the other day of some guy getting out of a car and just punching some kid in the head. And there's like a witch hunt. And they tracked the guy down. And it's like, I'm good they tracked him down. I'm good that, justice was served. But it's just like, it's like some guy punched a kid. It's awful. Hopefully he goes to jail. I'm like, dude, what do you mean? What am I supposed to do with this? Just be angry that some guy punched a kid? How dare he? That was another one. It was right there in video. Obviously a crime. You're still going to have to go to court and have some kind of, not trial, but if you really are obviously guilty, a lot of the times they will come up with things cheaper and shorter than a trial. Don't get me wrong, right? But like, what are you supposed to do with that? Man, there's people out there. Let me tell you something. The videos and the stuff they write about in the newspaper, and I'm not saying this to be I'm trying to sound a certain way, but those are legitimately the stories they could stomach printing that way. Much more heinous things happen they just don't write about. And yeah, so why don't they? If any of it's important, why isn't all of it important? And it's because you'd go crazy. It'd be miserable. If every single individual violent act that was, if it fits a certain narrative or fits a certain, hey, this is hot right now. Vehicular manslaughter's in. Let's talk about those. Remember when serial killers went? I think serial killers went away. People just stopped being serial killers. It's not really a news story. Every now and then they'll catch one. They'll write a couple stories. They won't be that big. Oh, they finally got a serial killer in Florida. Killed like 9 people over 5 years. Interesting. Whatever. It's not really news. There was mass shootings in this country. They just weren't as big, so they didn't cover them the same way. And they redefined a mass shooting. Now we have them all the time. It's just, I don't know. Sorry, I'm done. Done wrapping up. That's why they don't allow cameras in media and court. Well, yeah, sometimes they won't, right? What was it? I'm going to need some data for that accusation. I don't know what accusation. But I'll tell you what. Whatever accusation it is, I don't have data for it. But yeah. That's it. Any last things? Whatever you guys want to talk about. I'm not arguing with anyone. I'm just talking about I see in general the same thing happen, man. An article will come out about someone pointed a gun at someone and got arrested, and it will become a national story, and people will dig in on both sides, and they're just like, oh, oh no, what? That happened? But it just keeps happening, man. I keep hearing stories like people were standing in the road and a car hit them. It's like, well, it probably happens. Was it intentional? I don't know. You don't either. But that'll just be a story people talk about all the time. It's was 9/11 intentional? Should we I don't know, man. It just seems to me that all of that stuff, all of the back and forth of who was in the right, who was in the wrong, right? Anyone ever seen the video of there's these two shirtless, kind of slubby guys in an alleyway yelling at a woman and her husband? I think the woman's filming. And they both have guns. I think they're arguing over some garbage in an alley. It's in Texas, I believe. There's some garbage in an alley between the two houses. And the two shirtless men have guns. And they're arguing with the man and his wife standing across. And the woman keeps saying, "You're not going to shoot my husband. You're not going to shoot my husband." And the guy just raises his gun and bang, blows him away. Kills him right there. She goes, "Oh my God." Runs over and tries to save him. Just kills him. Dead right there. Cold-blooded murder. It actually was a news story that went around nationally. I don't know what that video did for anyone. It's kind of just like, wow, that's sad. Someone just got killed for no reason, over nothing. Over a dispute over some garbage in the alley. That's pretty awful. What is the... It's just for the media. Just someone will watch this. This will be news. That's not news. People kill each other for dumb reasons. It's on news, but it keeps getting. They just keeps happening. You just keep finding stories every day. Oh no! What happened this time? And I just don't get it. I just really don't get it. I don't get any of it, but it'll keep happening. Joshua Her, $5 said, "Go get yourself a new CS:GO skin for your birthday." Thank you very much, man. Let's see. I'll probably get a new AK skin. I've been using the blue laminate for quite some time. 9/11, exactly. 9/11 was intentional. Let's make that clear. 9/11 was intentional. They did not accidentally hijack the planes to crash them into the towers. Awful event. But I'm always into conspiracies. I'm not used to. I'm always into conspiracies. I don't necessarily follow them, but I'm into all of them. Sometimes, probably some shred of truth in there somewhere. Probably smaller than you think, or somewhere weird, or if it truly is a conspiracy, it's probably, bigger than you and you can't see it. But they're interesting, man. There's all kinds of goofy stuff, but also I like to stay abreast of all kinds of weird theories, because theory, here's an example I'll wrap up on. I don't really have to read too much and research too much into why people would be on either end of, let's say, the Medicare for all argument. For the most part, it gets summed up, and I could just, with just hearing a little bit from both sides, I can pretty intuitively get where they're coming from, right? So people are like, I don't know, I don't think the government should be providing healthcare, I think that's wrong, okay, I can see that argument. People are like, I don't know, I think people don't have healthcare, and that's wrong, so the government should be providing it to them. Okay, I can see that argument. I don't really need to, but conspiracy theories sometimes they take weird twists and turns. They're just weird. They kind of fascinate me a little bit. Like, how do you get there? What are they talking about? A lot of the times, something in there's true, though. Not a lot of times they go the wrong way, but it's why I'm interested. It's why I follow a lot of them. So, Sly Cactus, $2 super chat, favorite conspiracy, and Trev Third said, "Where in the world is Card in the Shadow?" They're on vacation somewhere in California. I honestly don't know where. And favorite conspiracy. Well, my favorite conspiracy is this is an internet classic, because I do believe this conspiracy really. Let me know if I'm wrong about this, chat. I do think this conspiracy really was born of the internet. Did not exist before it, and it was early in the internet. It's the conspiracy that Paul McCartney actually died in the 60s and was replaced with a fake Paul McCartney. That's my favorite conspiracy. There's all kinds of weird nonsense, all kinds of this and that, playing song backwards, symbolism on records. I don't say hilarious, but it's a interesting story. That's probably my favorite conspiracy, that Paul McCartney died. Flat Earth. I don't think. Here's the thing. Flat Earth. I guess Flat Earth would technically be a conspiracy, right? Because people would be hiding the fact the Earth is flat. But yeah, I guess. I don't know. Flat Earth is kind of whatever to me. Because I'll admit, there's a part of me that's what the hell? I don't know. I guess maybe it could be flat. I don't think it is. I've never been to space. I've seen pictures from I've been in airplanes, and I've seen pictures from the top of Mount Everest where you can actually see the Earth curving a bit, but I don't know. Maybe it's not either. Maybe it's kind of like an oval. It's more oval than we think. I don't know. That's one of the reasons why I'm not too with Flat Earth and a couple other ones. I don't know, man. Maybe, sure. It doesn't sound right to me. I feel like they're probably closer to a circle because we've said that for a while. Maybe we're not. I don't know. But yeah, no. Paul McCartney. Because, no, and I understand. There's some people that, but that is where the whole flat Earth thing is fascinating a little bit. Is the to what ends, right? It's why would people be hiding up the fact the Earth is flat? Think about it. The shape of the Earth, that's some pretty powerful propaganda tool to own, right? To decide what shape the Earth should be back in the day. So what, is that the argument? Pride? It's we lied to people for so long about the Earth being round because we were so arrogant, but it's not round. It's flat. We can't tell people the truth. We have to just keep saying it's round. We have to, like, fake trips to space. Like, I don't know. That's one of the reasons why it's just kind of like, I don't get it. Crab people theory? Yeah, and like the shape-shifting. Do I believe we went to the moon? Again, I don't know. Probably. Tell you what, as an American, goddamn right we did. There's only one flag on the moon, American flag. That's what I want to say. But I don't know. Maybe we didn't. I think this is what happened. I think the TV broadcast of the moon landing was not actually a live broadcast, and it probably was faked a little bit. But I think we did actually go to the moon. Like, with all the problems they have with live broadcasting over much shorter distances today, it kind of astounds me they were able to live broadcast from the moon. Like, what? That just went over, like, relatively smoothly, and they got, like, all kinds of great, awesome footage? I don't know. It sounds weird to me. It sounds like, it sounds like that probably is not exactly what happened. But that's the thing. Like I don't think they made up all of the stuff. Like, we've literally had, like, people die trying to get... I don't think they made all that up. But I do think some of that footage probably was a little bit sus, a little bit not on the up. But it was great propaganda in the Cold War, so we needed it. But yeah. Oh, I believe Joshua Hare is referencing the adrenochrome, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Again, I don't know. Sure, maybe, right? Like, these are my favorite conspiracies, that there's, like, some super high-level, elite, like, omnipotent cabal that operates all this stuff. It's like, yeah, dude, they're probably up to all kinds of shit then. They're, like, all-powerful. They can do whatever they want. It's like, yeah, they're probably all kinds of stuff going on. I don't know. Maybe the blood of babies is their magic power juice. Like, sure, if that weird arcane knowledge exists and it's hidden from the rest of us lay people, I guess it sounds wrong to me, but what do I know, right? I'm not a super big brained, global world leader person. So, to me, hey, who knows? But that's why all those conspiracies kind of make me laugh. That they're, that any of those ones that have, like, that operate under some, like, super powerful, all-knowing, branch of the government. It's like, yeah, dude, if they exist, they probably do all kinds of crazy stuff, right? They probably have alien tech, all kinds of crazy stuff. But yeah. So, let's see. I've said this before, but in all seriousness, next 8 minutes, so 6:40 Pacific, I'll be wrapping up and heading out. Oh yeah, I love watching Alex Jones on Joe Rogan. That's awesome. Some of my favorite. Honestly, I'll be honest, though, those are the only Joe Rogan podcasts I'll ever watch. So I'll go back and watch the old Alex Jones ones. Those are the only ones I'll still watch. Alex Jones is amazing. He's like reminds me like a wrestler. He's like a great talking wrestler, Alex Jones. So yeah, that's why I've always been a fan of Alex Jones. I don't necessarily agree with everything he says, or think he believes in all of it, but he's a great entertainer. He can entertain me. Like, I get that what Alex Jones talks about, he purports to be a little bit more, but I don't know, man. I put him up there with, like, an Art Bell, Like, he's much more entertaining than Art Bell. He talks about things about as fantastical as he did. I mean, like, I don't know. I think Alex Jones has had, like, mystics on to talk about, like, their, like, brain readings of, like, ghosts and stuff. I think he has done that. So I think, yeah, he's basically like Art Bell, but more political. So yeah, that's my Alex Jones rant, I guess. But seriously, I mean, it really does remind me more of, like, someone who would talk about conspiracy theory stuff at any other time. People would just look at it as a goof. But because he kind of wades into the politics, and also the way people hate him kind of leads me to believe he must have been right about more things than they'll admit. Because you don't hate people that are just wrong. How many people are angry the National Enquirer exists? Think about it. They publish BS all the time. Some of it's, like, dangerous misinformation. No one cares. No one shakes their fists. How dare they exist, right? That's weird. Some people, they will. I don't know. Okay, hold on. Let's one last thing we'll touch on, too. I got 5 minutes. Within 5 minutes. But the point of Joshua Hare. He says that Alex Jones is related to Jim Jones, and this says, that's my conspiracy theory. Dude, I have seen Snopes fact check like 4 different ridiculous stories where it's just like there's somebody named something Maxwell Trump, and they're like, is this the love child of Donald Trump and Ghislaine Maxwell? It's like, what? They have the same name? And there was another one where someone's like, Dr. Fauci's wife is actually Ghislaine Maxwell's sister because they're both named Christine or something. It's just, and Snopes is like fact checking it. It's like, what the hell is this? It's just you know what it is too? It's people that are it's just lazy. It's lazy. It's a lazy conspiracy. Oh, they have the same name, so whatever. That's why a lot of the anti-Trump conspiracies bother me. They're lazy. They're boring. They're stupid. There's nothing to them. You can't even work with them. Nothing to work with. They're just lazy. It's just, well, he's bad, so we did the bad thing. It's like, that's it, really? Yeah, he's lying, so that's the conspiracy. It's like, how dumb, man. How boring. Like, miss me with, well, he just worked with Russia, and they helped him. Yes, he just did it. He just called Russia, and Russia called him and said, we'll help you rig it. And he said, let's rig it. It's like, what a boring, stupid conspiracy. Especially because it led to Russia getting what? I don't know what Russia got out of this. I know Russia got a lot more when they screwed over the previous administration on the hard reset. I wonder if that's why there's so much animosity from the DC stuck-up politician wing towards Russia. I wonder if it has anything to do with Russia owning them during their hard reset period. I don't know. Probably doesn't, right? Probably got nothing to do with it. Either way, that's a more fun conspiracy to me. You see that? That's a more fun conspiracy. That people in the from the former Obama admin that tried to have the hard reset of negotiations and our stance with Russia or whatever, was it 2013 or 2012 or whatever, and it didn't go well. That out of their bitterness, they then decided to blame losing on Russia for sliding them. Again, basically a conspiracy theory, but it's more fun to me. There's more stuff there. More drama, right? More tension. Not just Trump wanted to win and he couldn't otherwise. It's kind of boring. But, like slighted? Like a revenge? I like that. I'll hear out that conspiracy theory more than just they're the bad guy. I don't. Just come up with something better than that, man. Give me a better story. You can't just give me crap stories. LeBron James. Yeah, I'm basically LeBron James. I honestly haven't read through that yet, but I want to read the Bernie Biden task force policy proposal. I had that pulled up right before we got started. I'll probably go over that for the next day or so. We'll talk about tomorrow. Because that is pretty interesting to me. I want to see what they're actually talking about. I want to see what Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden actually compromised on. I have to imagine nothing, right? We'll see how much of Bernie Sanders is actually in there. Maybe some, but it'd be weird to me. I don't know why. What's the point of Joe Biden to even beat Bernie Sanders if he just adopts his policy after? So, interesting. I'll have to look through it more. But that's why I don't want to get too much into it because I haven't actually read it. So, it is interesting though to see what will happen with Mrs. Maxwell, if she will find a similar fate, I guess we could say, as her former accomplice. Obviously, hope not, right? But yeah, I mean, it's like the scene from The Dark Knight, right? The scene from The Dark Knight when one of the guys that works for Wayne Tech finds out that Bruce Wayne and Batman are the same guy, and he goes to the Morgan Freeman character and says he's going to try to blackmail Batman. And the Morgan Freeman character is basically, why would you, if he is Batman, why would you want to blackmail him? Right? And it's like, if these people are basically the rulers of the world and all powerful, why would you want to cross them? Expose them to who? What? It doesn't make any sense. So there we go, guys. Wrapping up now. Either way, it was fun. It was fun. Thank you guys for hanging out with me for an hour or so here. Just give me something to do on this quarantine Wednesday. Man, that's all. We talked about just a quick recap of and I'll post the link again for anyone to join late. If you do want to sign up for the experimental coronavirus vaccine trials, which are beginning through the federal government soon, follow that link right there, man. You can be receiving your experimental coronavirus vaccine before anyone else gets their vaccine, and you can be first in line. You can be the cool guy or girl with the vaccine. You can go to Disneyland or whatever. So anyway, that's what we talked about. Other than that, I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, because we'll be back tomorrow. But if you're not back tomorrow, have a great rest of your week and weekend, and take care, everybody.